everyone, today we're going to be talking about The Grinch. No, not that Grinch, you heathen. I'm talking about the 2000 classic, directed by Ron Howard, starring Jim Carrey and the lead singer of The Pretty Reckless.
You make me wanna die, I'll never be good enough.
That Grinch. Also known as How the Grinch Stole Christmas, or The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, or Christmas Time with the Grinch, or Shrek 2, whatever you want to call it. It was one of those movies that was released with a few different titles, but anyway, the copy I had growing up was simply called The Grinch, so that's what I'll be referring to it as for the rest of the video, and if you don't like that, well guess what? Now you're the Grinch! How do you like that? Now, The Grinch was one of my favourite Christmas movies growing up. Me and my sister still watch it every year when Christmas time comes around. I still really like this movie. Jim Carrey is great in the role. The world is stylistic and interesting to look at. There are some pretty funny jokes along the way. For a children's movie that has a fairly explicit swingers party halfway through it, it holds up more than you'd think. But we're not here to talk about the merits of The Grinch. We're not here to talk about the things I do like. We're here to talk about one very troubling implication of the Grinch universe. So what is that one thing, that one small detail that makes me bolt upright in the middle of the night going, wait, what? Was it the swingers party? You'd think so, but no. It actually happens right at the start in the opening narration.
Inside a snowflake, like the one on your sleeve, there happened a story you must see to believe.
So the story takes place inside a snowflake. All the characters live inside a snowflake. And I want to take this video to break down all the horrific implications of that.
I know this is gonna sound crazy and not very scary, but it is scary if you think about the implications.
Everyone in here is tiny. A snowflake itself is a tiny, tiny thing, 0.02 inches in diameter according to a quick Google search, and there are at least hundreds of people living inside this one. They're all even more small than that. Like, I don't even know if the characters in The Grinch would show up under a microscope. That's how small they are. I don't know why that particularly bothers me so much, but it does. Everyone in The Grinch is so far off from being allowed on a roller coaster. It's unreal.
Promise me you'll think about the implications.
Okay.
They celebrate Christmas in this movie, of course, it's a Christmas movie, and a key theme of The Grinch is people have fallen for the more material side of Christmas rather than what it's really all about.
The avarice never ends! I want golf clubs, I want diamonds, I want a pony so I can ride it twice, get bored, and sell it to make glue!
But what is it really all about to the Who's? Is it just about connecting with family and having goodwill and all that jazz, or do they also celebrate the birth of Christ? Because the existence of Christmas, especially the very westernized version of Christmas that we see play out in the movie, does seem to me to imply the existence of Christianity. I'm very curious to know the origins of Christmas within the world of The Grinch. Did the Christian missionaries get to this snowflake as well? Where won't they go?
Don't say anything. Let it sink in.
Okay.
Speaking of Christmas, Santa is in there. Like actual Santa. It's not implied, the parents wholeheartedly believe in Santa because he is real in this universe. He exists, and in one scene the Grinch spies on him. So I have questions about what is going on here. Is this Santa that we see exclusive to the snowflake world? Or are the Grinch's binoculars so powerful that they can see outside of the snowflake and into the real world, quote-unquote real world where Santa is? Or is this Santa the Santa, but he also lives inside the snowflake by pure happenstance? Or does Santa have the ability to shrink down and enter into a snowflake, like Ant-Man going into the quantum realm? Or are there two Santas? One small Santa for the people in Whoville, and one big Santa for us in the real world? Is it the case that the small folk get the small Santa and the big folk get the big Santa? Is there a Santa for every single snowflake? Because let's not forget, the story takes place inside a snowflake. So does that mean there's a story taking place inside every snowflake? What's going on in all the others? Or is this one the outlier? Or are we all in our own snowflake right now? I feel the need to address as well, The Grinch is not the only story where Whoville appears, it is also in Horton Hears a Who. In Horton Hears a Who, Whoville exists in a dust speck, so maybe Whoville is some sort of alternate dimension that can be accessed through dust specks or snowflakes, but a key plot of Horton Hears a Who is that the bad guys in Horton Hears a Who are going to destroy Whoville, so Horton has to get the dust speck to a safe place. Which means Whoville can be destroyed by external forces. Which brings me nicely onto my final point. What do snowflakes do? Well, let's see, they form in clouds and then they fall from the sky and drift down and land on the ground and sooner or later, they melt. Yeah, snowflakes melt, let's not forget. And sure, this snowflake could be falling in a very cold climate, like the North Pole, but even so, it's still gonna land and melt a bit, or it could land on a polar bear's fur. Or if it's not falling in the North Pole, if it's falling somewhere else, it could land on someone's sleeve. Or I could hold up my finger and let it melt on there, not knowing there's an entire universe that exists within that snowflake that just melted over my hand. It's inevitable that the snowflake will melt at some point. Now obviously more time is passing within the snowflake than outside it. It's a Narnia or a Miniverse situation. We see that the Who's have an annual countdown, so clearly they experience years. But on average, based on a quick Google search, it takes 45 minutes for a snowflake to fall. Which doesn't quite sound right, but I don't know enough about snowflakes to dispute it. Sooner or later, it is going to hit something and then it melts, and the big question is what the hell happens in-universe when that happens? Like, does everything just slowly start turning into water? Do all the mountain ranges and shops and Who's and people just start melting? What happens to Whoville when it starts to get a bit warmer? Does Whoville melt? Does the Grinch melt? Ron Howard, I need answers. What happens to the Grinch? Does the Grinch melt in the springtime? Everyone is blissfully unaware that they are hurtling through the sky, heading towards their inevitable demise.
Okay, now, are you frightened?
So that is the most troubling implication of the Grinch. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. Comment below any weird details from movies that make you bolt upright in the middle of the night. And if you want to see more of the things that I've made, well, there's probably a video on the screen somewhere you can click and go and watch that. That's it for me today, so thank you all so much for watching this video, and as always, I will see you in my next one. Bye bye.